Hello race fans and welcome to the Algarve International Circuit here in cloudy Portimao for the 2024 Portuguese Grand Prix. We're here at this fan favorite roller coaster of a venue and let's see what our drivers can do here in qualifying. And here's your practice report for the Portuguese Grand Prix. Keita Watanabe down at the bottom of the order. However, he was doing some wet tire running in anticipation for Q3 as rain is anticipated for the event. Watanabe got the better hand of his senior teammate Fernando Alonso at 2 and 4, so Toyota perhaps finding some pace around this circuit. And in practice 3, Fernando Alonso topped the timing sheets, a 1:15.2 to Watanabe's 1:16.7. So not a very clear image, but in some of the hands of the Toyotas, particularly Fernando Alonso, it seems to have some pace around the circuit, something that cannot be said for its performance last time out in 2023. Toyota identified their DNF on Watanabe's side of the garage to be a gearbox failure. However, they were not able to locate the issue. Similar trend to what it was like last year with all the DNF problems they had in the beginning half of the 2023 season. Toyota is still second in the pecking order though, so they do have a very fast car with their new engine concept. And as mentioned earlier, the race will be dry, but qualifying 3 will bring about some rain. Through turn 15 now, the long swooping right-hander up the little crest of the hill, across the line, and Keita Watanabe tops the session at 1:14.9. Watanabe does not go out again, and it's a repeat of practice 2 with Watanabe 3rd, Alonso 4th. The two Mercedes, though, the only two cars that are still ahead of both drivers, and Esteban Ocon still continues his poor form. Around turn 15, the skies cleared up, so perhaps that rain warning was a little premature. Watanabe on the mediums, though, 3rd overall. Around the final corner, 4/10 up on his previous time on the mediums. Again, seeing if he can maybe break into the top 10, and he does, but he's still in the drop zone. On the soft tires, 2 purple sectors for Watanabe. He's absolutely flying on the soft rubber. 4/10 up on his previous time, 2 purple sectors, and tops the session, 1:14.6. And Watanabe just gets pipped by Lewis Hamilton, but by 9/100ths of a second. So a very good time for him. Fernando Alonso makes it into Q3 as well, but the AlphaTauris, Alpines, and Williams don't. And the rain has fallen. This is probably the most crucial lap for Watanabe. The only lap he'll probably get on the dries in Q3. Crosses the line, but he's down. And only one run for most of our drivers. Some going on the inters. And Lewis Hamilton, one of them, who just manages to beat Watanabe by 2/10, showing that Toyota mistimed their run on the softs. Fernando Alonso, though, went out a lot earlier, and he makes it up onto the front row. A brilliant result for the Spaniard. Sunny skies. Well, it cannot be said the same for yesterday, but what can be for sure is that we're in for a brilliant race around this roller coaster, undulating, twisty-turny circuit known as the Algarve International Circuit. We're usually here from MotoGP, but 4 wheels will rule this track as we head to the 2024 Portuguese Grand Prix. And we're here in Portimao, here at this fan-favorite venue with tons of roller coaster corners, including the second sector. Tons of undulation, and our drivers will have to be careful through the blind corners, as a lot of the times the exit of the corners are downhill, meaning that if there's an incident, they've got to be on their toes to make sure they avoid any contact. And here we are onto the starting grid for the Portuguese Grand Prix, and Valtteri Bottas wins last time out in Imola, and remember, every time he won the second race of the season, he's always managed to contest for the championship. But Max Verstappen, he's also looked very strong with his commanding win in China. What can they do? But what can Keita Watanabe do to recover from a race in 2023 that he would have been a sure win for him? And now he has got another DNF on the table. Let's see our starting grid. Valtteri Bottas takes pole position, but Fernando Alonso on the front row, something we all love to see. Age is just a number, and Fernando Alonso is proving that. That is Max Verstappen 3rd, Carlos Sainz 4th, Charles Leclerc 5th, and Lewis Hamilton up in 6th place. Then it's Keita Watanabe 7th, Lando Norris 8th, Perez 9th, and Lance Stroll down in P10. Then it's Antonio Giovinazzi 11th, and Gasly 12th, Ilott 13th, and Christian Lundgaard in 14th, George Russell 15th, Nicholas Latifi 16th, Ocon 17th, and Sebastian Vettel down in 18th place, Sato 19th, Tsunoda 20th, and the Noah's Ark completes with Nikita Mazepin and Zhou Guanyu down in the bottom row for Haas. Let's see what our drivers can do. The sun is up. Let's get ready for what is no doubt going to be exceptional racing. 5 red lights. The drivers are raring to go. Who can get the better launch? Can Fernando Alonso pit Bottas into the first corner? It's lights out, and off they go. It's a brilliant start for both drivers. They're neck and neck, but Watanabe gets a pretty decent start as well compared to Lewis Hamilton. And here goes Charles Leclerc trying to get around his teammate and Max Verstappen, but Valtteri Bottas just manages to shut the door on Fernando Alonso as Kei Watanabe dives on the inside into turn 3, but he gets upset on the curb, so he's unable to get by Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari, and now he's going to be under intense pressure from Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes car down the straight towards turn 5 we go in this little hairpin. Hamilton down the inside, but Watanabe is going to try and go around the outside, and he gets the better drive out of the corner, and he keeps the position over Lewis Hamilton, and that was an exceptional first few corners. Look at the replay. You can see Watanabe gets a brilliant start in comparison to Lewis Hamilton, and Hamilton's got nowhere to go because Leclerc is all over the road trying to get by his teammate. And, well, here goes Watanabe. He's going to try and do a little cheeky dive, but that sausage curve just really unsettles the car, you can see there, and that just leaves him vulnerable. You see Hamilton gets a slingshot of a move out of turn 4 down the straight. Doesn't even need DRS. The Mercedes is a faster car in comparison to the Toyota, but down the inside Hamilton goes, but he's unable to complete the move on Watanabe. Now let's look at Fernando Alonso's start here. As you can see, he gets a pretty decent start. Valtteri Bottas is a little bit ahead, but yeah, Alonso just unable to get the drive out of the corner. Around turn 15 we go. This is a place that Watanabe will have some PTSD from last year. This was where all the cars were able to get better exits from that corner, and Hamilton's up there, but Watanabe with pulling some batteries, keeping up around the outside into turn 1, an ideal line. Off track he goes Watanabe, but the FIA have not been monitoring track limits there all weekend, so he gets to hold the position. And he's getting pounded by Lewis Hamilton again here on lap 4 as Watanabe a personal best lap time, but is unable to beat Hamilton with DRS in that Mercedes, and Watanabe loses the place, and perhaps you're going to see a repeat of last year. Over the crest we go, and Lando Norris in the McLaren closing in. Watanabe getting the squeeze on the run down to turn 1. Down the inside he goes, but he's too late on the brakes. He goes very wide. There's Watanabe, and he rejoins the track a little erratically. As Lando Norris side by side into turn 3, and he squeezes it. Oh, there's contact as Watanabe gets a snap of oversteer, and he holds onto position, but quite controversial. Let's look at the replay. You can see here, just a little snap there, and he goes to the side of Lando Norris. Thankfully, no front wing damage for Watanabe. He did get front wing damage with Lando Norris last time out here in Portugal. And you can see Lando Norris, Watanabe, while track limits weren't monitored there, he did go very far off circuit, and he still holds on to the position through turn 4. Lando Norris has to be on his guard. He's off track again.
Forced me off. What's this idiot doing? He even went off himself.
And Lando Norris is not going to be happy as his new teammate, Lance Stroll, gets the better of him through turn 5, and he's going to be definitely on the radio. Watanabe, through the second sector he goes, and here goes Lance Stroll in his McLaren. He's been struggling in his new outfit. Has the McLaren driver, he squeezes Watanabe off the track, but Watanabe makes some contact with him, as that was a very aggressive move, and Watanabe just manages to hold the position against Lance Stroll. Through turn 15 we go, but Stroll is going to be all over the back of Watanabe, and Lando Norris as well. Both have DRS. Watanabe's got nothing except battery to go. Stroll gets by him, and Lando Norris closing in at a rate of naught. Down into turn 1 we go, and Nikita Mazepin is out of the Grand Prix with a mechanical DNF. Closing up the Stroll this time. Here we go, going turn 4, a little wide, exceeding track limits does Toyota driver, but he still has DRS on Stroll. Down into turn 5, down the inside he goes, a little late on the brakes. Has to rotate the car gently, but Stroll gets the better exit, and they're side by side though. Through turn 6, heading toward turn 7. What's Stroll going to do? Is he going to be able to hold on? He goes, there's contact! Tire walls banging between the two drivers, but Watanabe just manages to get the better exit.
It's unbelievable how bad we are at maintaining temperature.
And here goes Kei Watanabe early into the pit stop. So is he going on the two-stop strategy? The two-stop strategy would work. However, a lot of teams, Pirelli, with their new tires they brought into the season, do speculate that a one-stop is very much possible around the Algarve circuit. So what is going to happen? That's a brilliant stop for the boys and girls of Toyota. 1.8 second onto a slightly used set of soft compound tires. And onto the track we go. Watanabe just going to head up behind the two Aston Martins of Sebastian Vettel and Esteban Ocon, who have been stuck together all race, unable to get the moves on between the two. And Watanabe is going to see what he can do as he tries to close up to Ocon and Vettel and the Aston Martin. In 2024, it's a not a very competitive car. And with the pace Toyota will have on their newer soft compound tires in comparison to the 2 Aston Martins. This is surely going to be an easy overtake for Watanabe, but this part of the track is not a typical part you see overtakes. Through turn 8 we go. Very easy to lose the back end through this corner. Over the crest of the hill we go. Ocon, Vettel, and here goes Keito Watanabe into turn 9, the sweeping right up the hill. Turn 10 and 11, the double right-hander. Watanabe is staying close. The dirty air does not seem to affect him as much as we would have anticipated. Around the outside of Sebastian Vettel through turn 12 into turn 13. Slices through 1, pulls a switcheroo on Ocon around turn 14, and that was some brilliant moves, pulling the little switcheroo on 2 Aston Martins, and Valtteri Bottas pits from the lead of the Grand Prix, and Max Verstappen will inherit that same lead. Here goes Watanabe closing in on Lewis Hamilton down the straight with DRS, and he's going to get a little revenge overtake on the Mercedes driver. He is Watanabe closing up to him. They're both him and Leclerc on the hard compound tires, so they will be going to the end of the Grand Prix on this tire set. But Watanabe with tires 2 steps softer than his competition will no doubt be flying through as he dives on the inside of Lewis Hamilton, almost collects Charles Leclerc. That was some very, very lucky chance for Watanabe, almost losing the front wing. Through turn 7 we go, a little bit of tire wall banging, and Watanabe takes the place back from Lewis Hamilton. Through turn 15, closing up the Charles Leclerc over the crest of the hill, across the start-finish line to start lap 15 as the Alpines and Gasly pit, and he's going to see what he can do. Down the inside of Charles Leclerc, into turn 1 we go, just manages to keep it on track, and that is a move done and dusted. Onto the second Ferrari of Carlos Sainz. Watanabe loses the back end slightly as Giovinazzi pits from the lead. Not from the lead, apology for that. Puts onto the medium tires, and Watanabe with the step softer tires is going to make that easy work. Fernando Alonso also on the 2-stop strategy, but Max Verstappen on his 1. And Fernando Alonso pits on this lap. Being the driver higher up on the order, Watanabe is going to have to wait for a second pit stop. And Bottas also on the 2-stop strategy, and Max Verstappen having plenty of clean air to extend his advantage to the rest of the field. So can he get another win to add? And into the pit lane goes Watanabe, and it wasn't a very good in-lap for him. As you can see, plenty of cars powering down the straight as we speak, and Watanabe's following down the order. It's a decently short pit lane here in Portugal. However, time lost in the pits, still around 20 seconds. And there we go, Fernando Alonso takes the lead position back from his teammate. And Watanabe's at risk of even losing position to Lance Stroll, powering down the start-finish straight. He is 3-second pit stop. Pretty slow stop from the boys and girls of Toyota Racing. And Watanabe is just in P11 outside the top 10. He could even lose the place to the Alpine, but he just manages to pip them out of the pit lane. And closing up to Lance Stroll. The medium tires on the fresh mediums will be better than the aged softs that Stroll is on. And Watanabe powers down the start-finish straight with DRS and ERS and completes the move on the Canadian driver. And that's Watanabe back into the points. Yellow flags on the start-finish straight as Watanabe barrels down onto lap 28. We go, and Carlos Sainz, oh no, there's this engine blow up from the Ferrari, and that was very dangerous. Almost a sliver of space between the two. Look at the replay. You see Watanabe powering on straight. He doesn't get to see Sainz till now, and the engine just goes up in smoke right in front of him. And that was some quick reflexes. Thankfully, the racing line, Sainz wasn't on the racing line, so no damage there. But there we go, the engine blowing up for Carlos Sainz. A disappointing end to his race where he looked to have pretty decent pace around the circuit, and he's going to be very upset with that.
Something fake.
And there you see Watanabe took some grass. You can see he's throwing up some dust. And Carlos Sainz pulls off to the side. And the stewards don't look to be calling a safety car. Closing up to Antonio Giovinazzi now. And this might be the last move that Watanabe pulls this race, as Pierre Gasly is a little too far ahead for him to catch in 2 laps. But Watanabe down the inside of Antonio Giovinazzi. Goes a little wide though. He goes. And Antonio Giovinazzi fighting back in his 3rd season with AlphaTauri, the Italian, really stepping up and showing his potential. But Watanabe still holds the place. Max Verstappen took the lead in China, and under the sunny skies of Portugal, Supermax reigns again. He wins the Portuguese Grand Prix to extend his championship advantage, and Keito Watanabe crosses the line. It's a decent points haul for Toyota Racing. Alonso beats him again, but Watanabe was able to finish the race and perhaps that little pip in reliability for the Toyota team is just not something to worry about. Max Verstappen reigns supreme. Valtteri Bottas takes P2, and Lewis Hamilton makes it a Mercedes 2-3. The Silver Arrows looking to really contend their another Constructors' Championship. Can they make it? 11 Constructors' Championships in a row. That would be a feat unheard of and a record that surely no one will be able to beat for a long time. Fernando Alonso unable to convert his front row start into another podium for the Spaniard, and Watanabe and Alonso down the order in the championship as Valtteri Bottas still holds the lead over Max Verstappen. 2 points, though, is the difference between the two. Valtteri Bottas looking for his 4th straight driver's title, and Toyota Racing still in 3rd in the Constructors. What a brilliant race we've had here in Portugal. But we head to the Spanish Grand Prix at the Circuit Barcelona, Catalonia, and let's see what eventful this race will prove to the championship. But that's it from us. Goodbye.